Hello, my name is Ros McKee. I'm a member of the Hunter Valley Branch Committee, and we have a programme consisting of 3 elements for you tonight. The first one is me talking briefly about the Australian winter schools. The second is our local musicians, Chris and Catherine, and that's a treat in store for you. And the third, I think I'll invite our producer, Arthur Kingsland, to come out and join me here for the moment. Arthur has produced this and filmed this and edited it, so thank you, Arthur.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed tonight's programme.
And I've invited him out here because it's actually his partner, Julia Smith, who has written a dance that we're going to feature in the third part of our programme, and you are welcome to join in and dance it with us if you want to. And I'm going to be helped by another of our local dancers, Agnes McGregor, to show you that dance. So, enjoy our programme.
So, where is the Hunter Valley Branch? Well, if you have a look at the map of Australia and start off on the west coast, there's Perth. Go along the south coast and you've got Adelaide. Further along there's Melbourne. Up the east coast there's Sydney. And further up there's Brisbane. They're all state capitals and they all have an RSCDS branch. There's also one in our capital city, Canberra, which is southwest of Sydney. We are actually centred in Newcastle, which is just to the north of Sydney. And we're called the Hunter Valley Branch because the Hunter River flows out through Newcastle. And when we made the branch, when we formed the branch in 1974, there were quite a few classes that were up the valley from us, so they were within the Hunter Valley. So we were called the Hunter Valley Branch. And we were the first branch to organise an Australian winter school. It was a brainchild of a young man called John Riley, seen here in a fancy dress night. John had the idea that a lot of us really enjoyed the New Zealand summer schools, which are run at the end of December and the beginning of January, but that we in Australia should run a winter school. So in 1976, we ran the first winter school, which was held at Tokal Agricultural College, just up the valley from us. Here's a picture of the whole school. The following year, as no other branch was able to take it over, we ran a second school in the same place. And you get some idea of how long ago it is. If you look along that front line, you can see a woman with a long red skirt and she's holding a baby in her arms. That baby is now a fully qualified teacher and the mother of 3 children. Time moves on. Also in that school, we've got a photograph of the advanced class doing a demonstration. So that was the first 2 winter schools here in Australia. Melbourne, which is 1,000 kilometres south of us, ran the next school. Here's the teachers at that school. The following year, Canberra, which is 400 kilometres to the southwest of us, ran a school. Here's the advanced class at that school. And then Brisbane ran the next school, and Brisbane is nearly 800k north of us. And here's the children's night at that school. The next branch to offer a school was the Sydney branch, and here's a picture of the school in the grounds of Hawkesbury Agricultural College, which was a great venue for the school. And I think this was the first school they organised there. It could possibly be the second one, I'm not sure. However, this next picture shows the advanced class at that school, and that is definitely of that particular year. Then Adelaide, which is 1,500 kilometres from us, offered their next school. Here's a picture of the whole school. And the next picture shows the advanced class at that school. Then there was a year where Perth didn't quite have its act together, so we ran the next school. And then finally, there was a school in Perth, which is 4,000 kilometres away from us. As you can see, they had a big Canadian contingent there, and you've probably now got an idea of just what a big country Australia is. And after that first round of schools, we've carried on more or less in the same way, with each branch taking it in turn to organise a winter school every 7 years. Here in the Hunter Valley, we organised the 43rd Australian Winter School, which was held in July 2018. There were 5 of us on the committee. The one in the pink top is Marnie Wilson. She was our chairperson. And we started meetings 3 years before the school. And of course, gradually the meetings got closer and closer together and more intense as the school approached. We decided to hold the school in Shoal Bay, which is a lovely resort area just to the north of us. Here's a picture of it. And you can see it's a nice great big bay with a lovely crescent beach there and a wonderful headland at the entrance towards the sea. And we actually had the accommodation in the Ramada Resort, which is right next to the bay, a very luxurious resort. We had 6 teachers at our school, 3 from overseas, 2 from France and 1 from New Zealand. And we had 2 teachers from Sydney and 1 from the Hunter Valley. And the school operated as usual on compulsory morning classes, which were graded, and then optional afternoon classes, and then, of course, the evening functions. So here's our musicians on our first night, the welcome social, Chris and Catherine. Chris actually played for the very first winter school and has played for a lot of winter schools since then. Here's a picture of the dancing on that night. And then later at the party. One of our nights was called a resort night, where people were encouraged to come dressed in something appropriate for wearing at a resort. So, of course, we had a lot of casual dressed people, as you can see in this photograph. But we also had some plays on the word resort. So here's the resort group, which I thought was rather clever. And then the group for the last resort, complete with heavenly body and padre and lots of rest in peace signs. And finally, a picture of our pianist for that night, showing that it really was a winter school. The last but one night of the school was a formal dinner, which gave us a chance to rest and relax before the ball on the final night. And Marnie, our chairperson, realised that the ball was being held on July the 14th, which of course is Bastille Day. And we had French people at the school. So our decorations, here you see our chandeliers, they're decorated with the French flags. And our supper tables had French poodles on them, made from ping pong balls. And of course, a lot of the dances on the programme had some sort of connection with France. The final evening started with formal drinks. Here's some of our helpers putting the drinks out. And here's a general view of the gathering before the ball. Then there was a grand march, and then there was dancing. And during supper, somebody came up to me and said, "You know, we've got all the French people here and it's Bastille Day. Do you think they'd sing the Marseillaise for us?" So I went and asked the French people. So there you are, picture of French people with some helpers singing the Marseillaise. I might say they had no warning, they had no music, and of course they had no sheet with the words, and they sang it completely. And I thought, as I stood there watching them, you just never know what's going to happen at an Australian winter school.